Now, no one has seen this artifact in 20 years. You guys are gonna be the first to kind of like really see it. So guys, here's the prop. You see the two eyes? The sunlight peeks through the stained glass. They've made an entire kind of walkthrough now. Okay guys, we're back at Universal Studios Florida. It is time for another Halloween Horror Nights 2025 update. We have massive construction updates. We gotta talk about Hollywood. We gotta talk about Vegas. Murdy's tweeting out all sorts of stuff. And then also, guys, we just hit the first tier, 76,000 subscribers now. So you know what that means? We're gonna be unveiling an HHN prop. If you didn't know, we're so close to kind of like dethroning the official HHN YouTube channel. Half of you guys currently are not subscribed who watch the videos. We have a little challenge now. If we hit 76,000, we're gonna have a reward to show you guys, 78,000 and then 80,000. So I own one of the largest HHN collections in the world. So I'm gonna reveal like a jaw-dropping artifact to you guys, every single one of those tiers that we hit. Like your mind is gonna be blown. I promise it'll be worth the wait, but we got this. We're gonna dethrone the official HHN channel. So on that note, it's time to talk about the Halloween Horror Nights shirt of the day. Now this is one of the rarest ones. It's one of my favorite shirts. The artwork is just so great. It's so vibrant, so spooky and scary. This is 1994 Halloween Horror Nights. One of the rarest pieces is the hat. So you got that same kind of skull and bats that are on the shirt. Then on the back it'll say Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights 1994. There's not too many of these left. So on that note, let's roll the commercial. Okay, welcome back. Now there's lots of parents screaming at their kids today. So let's head in. Okay, so let's first talk about Vegas. We're talking more about kind of the podcast and that stuff. But first we have some construction updates from Horror Unleashed. So Crystal and Chris, who do a great job covering stuff, they tweeted out this. They showed off some construction photos. Here's a look at from the road of how the new signage on the building looks, Universal Horror Unleashed. And then from the front, we can see they've added in the windows, the fan, and then also Universal Horror Unleashed. So now let's go back to the Vegas podcast. So if you missed yesterday's kind of episode of the HHN updates, pretty much they were kind of talking about what Horror Unleashed is, and then also that the Legendary Truth are gonna be a part of it. So now let's cut to them kind of talking about the actual story within Horror Unleashed.
Now to the specific story of Las Vegas, we really wanted to lean back into our history because Universal Pictures started horror. I mean, if you go back to the 1920s, 1930s, we started horror in film, and we continue that rich legacy for over a century into today, where we're making some of the greatest horror films there are. And we wanted to kind of lean back into that history when we started pulling our story together. So what this is it's an old production warehouse. And when they started those horror films back in the 1920s, 1930s, inevitably on every set, different props, different set pieces, different equipment that they were using became haunted. And they couldn't put it with the general public or with all the rest of the stuff they store in LA. So they took it out to this warehouse, this old warehouse, and just started storing stuff there, right? And they stored so much haunted material out there and so much spiritually charged, material and equipment that this world broke through. And it broke through in different ways so that different creatures kind of were attracted to different areas of the warehouse. So when you walk in, it's all locked down. It's like Legendary Truth's like, this is what's going on in here. They'll interact with you as you're coming in. And then you walk in, and the first area you walk into is called Dead Storage. And that's Dead Storage is something that's in a production warehouse where they throw all the old flats and all the set pieces and things like that. And I just want to talk about that a little bit to help you understand how the whole rest of it's going to work, because you're asking what should they expect or what it's going to look like. Well, right when you walk in, up to your right is the old Phantom of the Opera set. Okay, it's this huge opera box there. Now, if you know any lore about Universal out in LA, that set was up for close to a century, right? Was close to 100 years. It's the original
set that was on Soundstage 28.
That's the original one then.
Right. So
that's so cool.
This set was never taken down and always stayed up because somewhere back in the lore of Universal, some executive somewhere heard or was told that if this set came down, Universal would be cursed and it would not. It was haunted and it would be cursed and it would fail to exist. And so they kept it up. Well, they had to take that real estate that was there. So they're like, don't worry. We're going to keep this thing, you know, we're going to keep it intact and whatnot, and we're going to store it. We're going to keep doing what we've been doing, but we're not, you know, we're just not going to leave it in the same spot. Mm-hmm. So it's a really nice touch point because this is a very haunted set that everybody knows about, and when you walk in, you know,
it's right there.
Here's a piece of it, and that just sets the tone for what you're going to see all the way through.
It's a new dawn. It's a new day. There's a new stage. We got the brand new stage here again, pardon our dust. We are in the process of transforming our park for Halloween Horror Nights. So it looks exactly like the stage with the gargoyle that we saw over there. They've added a different piece of stained glass. So again, the whole kind of theme is based around the El Artista house, right, in the conservatory. Is it a raven? Is it a crow? But it looks pretty similar. They haven't finished the stage yet. They're still working on that. So let's come around and see how the stained glass looks. Okay, yeah, we can get a better shot of that. Let's get a better look at how the sunlight peeks through the stained glass so you can see it kind of shimmer. Now they did touch up the stage. Last time we were here, we kind of saw the fresh wood around kind of the speaker box, but they've kind of distressed it and themed it to the stage. So that got done last night. I just cannot wait to see these things glow during the nighttime. Oh, you know what? I see LED strips, so they are gonna glow. If you look, it's kind of hard. If you look right there, you're gonna see that, like, the LED strip. Okay, so before we show off the HHN piece a little later in the video, I want to talk about just kind of the problems and struggles with, I guess, collecting with Halloween Horror Nights and just Universal in general. The biggest problem with Universal is they really don't take care of their kind of props because there's no really archive. They have a giant warehouse where they just kind of like plop stuff on a shelf, but the problem with that is over time the stuff gets damaged, it gets lost to time, and it gets thrown out a lot. So a lot of like your favorite like props and everything, they just get thrown out. Universal has no archive, right? So they have not taken care of their past history of the parks because like they didn't know back in the day. Like Disney has so much stuff even before the theme park, so like they needed an archive and they really pride themselves with their history, but Universal is just starting to kind of figure out that people really enjoy their history and everything, but there's no archive. There's no one who has just one sole purpose of just archiving everything. So again, everything gets lost. A little later on in the video, we'll show off the prop and kind of the story of how we found it, the backstory behind it. It's wild, but let's keep doing some construction updates. We're heading into the HHN bar. We have some updates. Now we had the lights pop up last week, but now we have speakers. 4 speakers have popped up on the truss work, and it looks like they're all hooked up. So they have speakers that'll be blasting out here, and then blasting out over there where the bar is going to be, and then also on the other truss work there's more speakers. So if you come right over here, there's 4 speakers. So again, 2 pointing down there and then 2 pointing towards where the bar is going to be. So we got lights on top and then speakers on top, and they've all been hooked up. All right, let's head to the scare zone, see if there's anything new. Now it's rumored that we get pumpkins returning in the tree, so I'm excited to see when those start popping up. Speaker got moved, or it's a new one, but it's over there against the window. They're currently working on the little scare zone over there for the cats. So they've added some beams to kind of connect all the different little shacks. Oh, they've added a lot. Oh, they've made an entire kind of walkthrough now. I look over here. Oh, look at it. They got stained glass. So I see the stained glass there, stained glass there, stained glass there. These 3 still have the concrete barrels on them to kind of hold everything together. But I think they removed some of the barrels from the other ones. I'm sure they're gonna have a light that shimmers and makes the stained glass glow. If you look in, you'll still see the barrels in there. I don't see any LEDs yet run around the stained glass, but I'm sure they'll have them to make them glow during the night times. All right, so back here they've added these. These were not here yesterday. We just had the standard kind of little shack. So I think the performer will enter in here. They'll have a piece of cloth they could enter into, I think. The performer will enter into here. And they'll have a platform right there, and then they're gonna have the boo hole jump out at people right there. So their arms can pop out of all these different areas, it looks like, but they're gonna keep adding more details. The little shacks just kind of perfectly blend in with all the trees. They've also added kind of another overhang. Right here, you'll have the boo hole for the performer or cat to attack you. Giant scratch marks have appeared on the fence. The other boo hole right there, and then the other one will be right there. So we have 3 different boo holes for performers to pop out of, but they've added more fencing last night, connected everything, and then added scratch marks everywhere. And then I don't think performers are getting in over here. This is just kind of the stained glass that's going to be illuminated. You do have some remnants on the wood. It says cat. I just realized that the stained glass is in the shape of a cat. Do you see the 2 eyes, the nose and the mouth? There's a cat in the stained glass. right, nothing new yet by this truss work. But you know what is new? What's going on in Hollywood? It's time for a Murdy tweet time and a house announcement.
I think it's John Murdy right there.
John! So Murdy tweeted out, "By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes." I'm very confused because they said a haunted house announcement and it's called Scarecrow Music by Slash. Is that real? Here we go. Here's the house. Universal Studios Hollywood, Halloween Horror Nights, Scarecrow Music by Music by Slash. Oh, Murdy loves Slash. So then Horror Nights also tweeted out this, plus Slash, music of Universal Studios Hollywood, Halloween Horror Nights Volume 2 available to purchase on vinyl and themed food and cocktails at Jurassic Cove. So on the Volume 2 Slash vinyl, you're gonna have songs from The Bride of Frankenstein Lives, Universal Monsters 2018, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman from 2019, Legends Collide in 2022, Eternal Bloodlines. Here's a better look at the cover of the vinyl album. You can see Slash is a scarecrow. I do love that Five Fires made a meme. New HHN stained glass piece dropped and it's just Slash in the center. So there was more info given. Slash's presence throughout the event will also introduce fans to a dedicated themed Slash bar located at Jurassic Cove above Jurassic World the Ride, where they can imbibe on a fleet of cocktails inspired by a collection of Slash's music, introducing the Dances of the Dead, Beautiful Dangerous, and the non-alcoholic option Slash's Snake Pit. A menu featuring some of Slash's favorite food will include such treats as chicken sauté tacos, Thai beef tacos, Thai curry tacos, plus a Slash hat cake reminiscent of his signature top hat for every sweet tooth guest. As guests dare to visit the Slash bar, they will be met by a ghoulish stilt walker Slash scare actor, fully adorned with his signature black curly locks and top hat, inspired by a character created by Slash. This scare actor will taunt and torment guests in his path. So then someone asked John about the vinyl. I hope there will be a signed version, and John responds with, there will be. So there'll be a limited edition amount of them that are signed. And then John also tweeted out something about the passing of Ozzy Osbourne. Hey, boils and ghouls, processing the news of Ozzy's passing, who was someone I idolized growing up and had a great privilege to get to know and work with on HHN. Ironically, the Black Sabbath house at HHN is how I first met Slash. It's interesting how much love Slash gets. Like, I get him and Murdy have their little bromance and everything, but like the Universal Orlando creatives have to like fight with marketing sometimes to get like their visions of stuff, and I feel like Murdy can just be like, oh, I like Slash. Just put Slash here and put Slash there. I feel like this is leading to a Slash house next year, because if Slash is designing scare actor characters, we got the food, we got the music, the albums always sell out. I feel like next year we're gonna have a Slash fully themed house where Slash can do an entire album. We'll have the scare actors that Slash is helping design, and the food and drinks. We're in the Slash decade. I just really want to know how Universal Hollywood came up with having Scarecrow again this year. I think it's the exact same house, but then just putting Slash music over. The Scarecrow house is happening in Vegas. To have two Scarecrow houses the same year is just kind of a very bizarre marketing choice. New bridge updates. They've added some new beams. So they removed all those yesterday or 2 days ago, and then now they've put new ones in. So they're slowly replacing everything from the old bridge. All right, let's see what's going on with the Hatchet and Chains house. Still working on it right now. Again, the roof has been finished. We'll start getting details and distressing later this week probably. But they still have the lower tier roof right there to finish. But let's go see how Dolls looks now. The distressing on the roof has been finished, and then we can also see the fallout tent over there. All right, I'm gonna head over to Nightmare Fuel now, see if there's anything new. But let's cut back to the podcast, and I'm gonna explain a little bit more about
There's dead storage, and then you walk into a film vault, which it's all crossed out and it says kill vault. And kind of what's come into that area is there's more classic monsters in dead storage, and in that area, that's drawn like more of a slasher kind of feel, because it's hard metals and sharp edges and things like that. And then there's a prop graveyard, where all these creepy dolls and props are kept. And then finally, there's a shipping and receiving area at the back.
We wanted to be able to reach out and talk about our film history, too. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about the parks and Halloween Horror Nights, which really grew out of the film history, but really is capturing all of horror. So not only does it talk about our Universal characters, but it talks about, some of the environments and some of the sets and props. So that you'll see elements. We're going through all of our warehouses right now too, and actually looking for objects and items we can pull to bring to this location. So yeah, we're excited about it because it starts to tell a different story a little bit, but at the same time, it starts to give our audience something different that they hadn't seen before.
In this warehouse, these characters live in this warehouse. They've broken through from the shadow world. They're attracted to whichever area of the warehouse they're in, and they're kind of indicative of that part of the warehouse as well. But they all will interact with you. And they all have story. They even have a hierarchy, in each area. And then there's always in every area kind of a storyteller that can, if you really want to delve in the story, you can sit there and talk to them for 30 minutes and they will discuss everything about, the warehouse and everything you want to know. They'll give you that information. We really delve deep into building these characters, not only in the space that they're in, but then how they fit in the overall warehouse and within our overall story.
So how do we can elevate the horror experience? And part of that is to become more interactive. Now, how do you do that? Because, of course, Halloween Horror Nights in most haunted houses, in my opinion, are the purest element of interactivity in immersive theater. It's like you get to walk in the environment with characters that surround you and attack you. But the thing that has always happened in those experiences is that's where it stops and you move on. It's momentary. It is it's seconds that you get to experience with these characters. And this is the thing that we got excited about. We said, okay, for the first time, the characters, the environments that we create, you can actually delve into that world. Grab a drink, of course, have some food. But we got excited because we thought, okay, this is something that nobody experiences anywhere. And for us to be able to bring that to life with these rich stories, with these great characters, is very, very interesting. And we think it's going to be something our audience is just going to die for, because for us, you don't get it anywhere.
They're still working on Amity bathrooms, but the siding has finally gone up. This was under refurb. They were like redoing the base of it. It's now been finished. And nothing new with the party zone. Same old, just lights. Still have the Amity Jaws Coca-Cola decorations up. All right, nothing new with the arcade. Looks the same. The idol is still missing from Boris's office. The Cthulhu idol. Gotta take a little break. Spooky updates. Stranger Things this has a pre-sale for Chips Ahoy cookies. That's a thing. That's happening. Okay, so let's go over the next little part of the podcast.
So when you go to this location, it has multiple things going on, from haunted houses to environments with characters to shows to food offerings and drink offerings that are also part of the story. That's the other thing that we got excited about, was to be able to bring now food and merch and also the drink selections into our story and become part of this experience. So you want to talk about the boiler?
We really work to make sure that every single thing, even the entrances to the haunted houses, are part of the story. That's kind of where that's those portals that have opened, and that's where you delve fully into the shadow world when you go into these haunted houses, What
should we expect as far as this haunted house goes? Is it like the same one that we've had in years past? Are there different elements? Can you guys kind of elaborate more on what we should expect going through that?
We changed the layout on some of them. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is completely different than anything we've done before. It follows the 70s film in a completely linear fashion. And you start in the graveyard with the credits, you know what I mean? You walk all the way through it, and every single one of the aggressors is represented. Not just Leatherface, as well as every single one of the victims is represented in the house. So we did a lot. We took those as a baseline, but we did a lot more to add to those and kind of plus them up and really do everything we ever kind of wanted to do in each one of those spaces.
One of the big learnings was when we actually opened our haunted houses during the pandemic. And we pulsed people through the house, which we hadn't done in some time. And we controlled that audience a lot better than what we do from the main event. But what we learned was that year we did a house that was called Tooth Fairy. And you remember that one? Okay, yeah, great. The Tooth Fairy had a great story. The whole story of I think it was Timmy, who didn't want to give up his teeth. And what we learned that year was people really enjoyed the story to the point where we went back into the house, increased the volume of some of the narration so you could hear the story even more, because we found people were really enjoying that part of the experience, not only still with the environments, the characters, and the scares, but really getting that sense that narration through the space. We have about a 2 or 3 second time span that people really pay attention to what we're doing because they're usually so scared. So that's the thing that we designed for. So that's why here we're excited to be able to give our audience a little bit more time within the space, more time within these worlds and these characters, to be able to interact with them and see a little bit more about the places that they've entered. So that's just part of each of the 4 houses have those kind of expanded stories, different characters, and a lot more interaction.
Tell us to Scarecrow the Reaping. Tell us about that house a little bit.
The holding area there, you actually are going to be standing outside of the house. So if you remember our haunted house back in the day, it had a little bit of an entrance statement, and then you walked in and you were in the house. Well, here you actually have the full facade of the house and a barn over to the left. And you're kind of waiting there with the corn and all that kind of stuff, and then these nasty scarecrows. Every house we do has these really intricate, pretty deep stories that everything's built upon. But then again, you're in each room for 3 seconds, so you're just going, oh, that was scary, or that was awesome, or I love the environment, you know what I mean? But you don't really get to delve deep into these stories. But with these holding rooms, we get to actually, through audio and visual, tell the story. So we actually tell the story that seeded that, the Dust Bowl era and the ground kind of coming to life and taking, the earth taking revenge on anybody who comes in. So we really kind of seed that story out there in that opening holding area. As you walk through, it follows a similar path that it did before, but you walk directly into the house. So that's kind of neat. So you're actually walking into the house that you're going to be in. And then there's some transitions from exteriors to interiors and whatnot. We do actually fully realize the dust storm. So you're able to, you go to an exterior and you get to be in one of these dust storms rolling in. That's a really dynamic moment. You're going to feel all those things and get all those things you want to get as a Halloween Horror Night fan. We made sure they're all there. But then we're going to plus that up as well. And that's the same exact thing with Scarecrow. You're going to get all those same feelings. Those same moments that were like so dynamic and exciting, they're going to exist. They still exist. They're there. But then you're going to get kind of more on top of it.
I'm excited because, like, if you're going to be able to talk to these characters for like a half an hour, they're really going the way of kind of Dark Universe, where it's like it's kind of interconnected storylines. You can get as much as you want out of it, if that makes sense. Like, the more you play, the more rewards you get. So that every time you come back, there's something new, and the stories will evolve and change seasonally and, yearly. We'll get new houses and stuff like that. I can't wait to kind of see it evolve. I'm excited for Vegas. We're 3 weeks away at this point, but we're still missing one podcast. If you remember, the host Dave had his introduction podcast. He was talking as if they had just filmed a Horror Unleashed podcast. So there's a Horror Unleashed podcast that still needs to be released. Construction update. So they've, again, flattened out the pile of dirt. They've made kind of 2 lanes, but I'm guessing they'll eventually flatten this out probably later today. And then over here, they've really kind of brought out the whole path all the way out here. So they flattened out all the dirt so they can start building the coaster. We'll probably have another week of them flattening out the dirt. I really hope that one lone palm tree survives. Here at the movie theater, Jurassic got replaced by Bad Guys 2 promotions. I will say the first film was a lot of fun. It's not a masterpiece, but it was a fun time. It's time to head into the Super Nintendo World Store. Next round of merchandise to go over. So each one of these plushes are going to be $22. So you're going to have Daisy over here at $22. Little Toad, I feel like his head proportion's a little off, but they're all going to be $22. You come down here, you got a little piranha plant, and then $22, you can only hold like a couple quarters in there, but that's a thing. You got a little Yoshi right there. Now for $21, they're going to have the proper Yoshi plush. $35, they're going to have the larger Yoshi plush, and then $35, they're going to have the pillow. $16 for the Yoshi mug, and then $12 for this hard plastic Yoshi cup. I like on the back it says Yoshi, with then some of the other colored Yoshis on the back. $28 for the little kids Yoshi shirt. $35 for the adult shirt, but again, these are all 100% polyester. I've worn mine once in California and that's it. $35, they're gonna have the Yoshi hat. It's gonna say Super Nintendo World, and then have some of his spikes on the top. $40 for a drawstring bag with Yoshi. $40 is insane. Then the last piece of merchandise to go over is $42. It's like a Yoshi plush hat that you can wear. Another section done. We'll do another one tomorrow. Guys, it is the moment we've all been waiting for. Time for me to unveil the HHN artifact. So let's go back to the office in the AC and show it off to you guys. Okay guys, we're back in the office. So now it's time to show off the HHN artifact. This is one of my like prized possessions. Huge shout out to all you guys who subscribe. So I have another goal, 78,000 and then 80,000. So I have more different artifacts to unveil to you guys. Now, no one has seen this artifact in 20 years. You guys are gonna be the first to kind of like really see it. When it comes to the HHN icons, right, a lot of them don't really have props. So there's not a lot of stuff to kind of like track down and collect when it comes to them. I do have other stuff from other icons, which, you know, I'll show to you guys down the road. But with the director, his camera is the most noticeable, you know, object about him, right? That's what you think of for the director. So there's like two cameras when it comes to the director. There's a black camera with multiple lenses on it. Now that one, I believe Art and Design still has. They do have a couple artifacts. So then where is the other camera? The camera that's used on all the merchandise, all the promotional stuff, that main camera with just a single lens. Within like the hardcore HHN collector community, no one had any idea where it was. No one has it, even internally, right? No one had really seen it since they shot the commercial back in 2003. Where was this camera? So some people thought that pretty much like sometimes when Universal and other companies film commercials and stuff, they just like, you know, grab some random camera and like, oh, here's your prop, and then they put it back. So that's what we all kind of thought happened to this camera, that it just kind of got lost, thrown out. People really didn't care about this stuff 20 something years ago. The chances of kind of finding out where this camera was, since no one at Universal really knew where it was, were very, very slim. The person who had it for the entire time was actually the director of the commercial, Dean Carr. So luckily I was able to acquire the camera from Dean, and it's safe in my possession. Full COA, I got it directly from the source, screen matched and everything. So guys, here's the prop. Here it is. Here's the director's camera. So when you see that studio screamer, when you see the Sweet 16 merchandise, when you see him being promoted for HHN 30, for HHN 2003, the director is holding this camera. This is the camera that the director was holding for all the advertisement material that's on merchandise, billboards, and all that stuff. It's this one. And then Dean also signed it, autographed it on the inside. This is the one. It's been found. One of the like the grails of, you know, HHN. It is safe in my collection. I'm just like honored to kind of like be the caretaker of this. And then I have a bunch of other props from other icons and other stuff, which I'll show you down the road, which are even crazier than this. So guys, on that note, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and join the family.
Join the family. I've joined the family. I drank the tea and I'll drink the blood. Join the family.
Because I'm gonna keep you up to date on all things Halloween Horror Nights and Universal Studios around the country. I love you all, and I'll see y'all very soon.
The horror experience.
And there's and then you walk into a film vault